Hello friends and everyone watching this video. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am going to talk about the life cycle of stars. We are continuing from where we had stopped. Last video I had told you about the types of stars, how stars are formed. These two things I had told you all. Now I am going to tell about how uh, what are the life cycles of stars based on their mass. Certain stars about more than the mass of the sun are born as blue stars. Some stars are born as 2 times the mass of the sun, whereas some stars are born 10 times the mass of the sun, 10 times. Whereas some stars are born around more than 100 times, 20 times, 30 times the mass of the sun. Like this kind of stars also exist in this universe. So, as soon as a star is born, the first stars usually greater than the mass of the sun are born as blue-white stars. These blue-white stars immediately after they are born, they start their nuclear fusion reactions. Due to that, they are very bright and hot, and they have very hot surface temperature. So you must be wondering that you have heard that certain stars have a very low lifespan, whereas certain stars have a very long lifespan, like our sun. It is due to their mass. High mass stars, like more than 15 times the mass of the sun, or more than 10 times the mass of the sun, burn their fuel relatively much faster. Whereas low mass stars like our sun, or below 5 times the mass of the sun, or less than the mass of the sun, burn their fuel very slowly. This is why you have observed that for a star of you might have heard that a star of around 20 solar masses burns its hydrogen fuel for around 7 million years, whereas a star of the mass of the sun burns its fuel for around billions and billions of years. So, the first element what a star burns is actually hydrogen. Stars first burn hydrogen since you must be observed that stars burn hydrogen at a very long time. Do you know the reason why? It is because hydrogen is the lightest element in the universe. That is why the sun has burned hydrogen for a long time in its core, including other stars. When the star is burning hydrogen in its core, it is very stable. It does not have any signs of instability or something. This is characterized as an early stage of the star's life cycle. During that time, the surface temperature of a star is extremely hot, but the core temperature is not so hot. Like the core temperature is also hot, I would say, but it's not so hot during the helium burning stage, which I'll explain now after hydrogen burning stage. The surface temperature is too hot of a star. But the sun's surface temperature is now 5000 Kelvin. After billions of years, after the sun ignites its hydrogen fusion off, the sun's surface temperature will become somewhere 3000 degrees Celsius, something expected around. We don't know actually, but this is just an estimation. Secondly, I would like to talk about helium fusion in a star. Helium comes after hydrogen. After all the hydrogen in the core of a star has fused completely, helium fusion starts. In this helium fusion, you have observed that the high mass blue supergiant stars their nuclear fusion, because helium is heavier than hydrogen, so helium lasts for relatively a shorter time compared to hydrogen fusion. The star's surface temperature cools down, but the core of the star becomes even hotter and hotter. And you might have observed that why does so the question arises that why helium has a very shorter time frame compared to hydrogen. The reason is that helium is heavier than hydrogen, and due to that, the more heavier the element burning in the core of a star, the more faster the nuclear fusion is. So, so helium is also an so helium also the sun will burn through its lifetime, including other high mass stars. High mass stars, not only about our sun, but all the stars in the universe will ignite helium. Will burn helium in their core, not ignite, burn. Outside. Helium. If a star starts a helium fusion, it has finished its early stages of its life and started an advanced stage of its life cycle, a critical stage of its life. During this time, when the helium fusion of a star starts, suppose like a star, like a sun, the surface temperature cools down, and the sun, due to the increase in the nuclear fusion, as helium is a heavier element, the sun's outer layers will puff out. The star gets not only I'm not talking about the sun only, but the star, any star. The star gets increasingly unstable, and their shape becomes very irregular. Not like during their hydrogen fusion when their shape was almost a perfect sphere. The shape becomes irregular, something like this. Something like this, due to the rapid increase in the size of the star. So when the star actually gets increasingly unstable and starts to lose mass at a significantly higher rate compared to its main sequence lifetime, during the early stage of its life. And there's also a rapid increase in the luminosity of the star. You have heard that blue supergiant stars, blue stars, when they exhaust their hydrogen fuel, they become increasingly unstable, and their outer layers puff up into a red supergiant star. You might have heard about red supergiant stars. These are the most rarest stars in the universe. Almost very rare. They are very rare in this universe. Not rarest. You can't consider as rarest. They are very rare stars in this universe compared to other sun-like stars. So after the helium fusion, it certain stars, about high mass stars, about around 15 times, more than 10 times the mass of the sun. Actually, you can't say 10, more than 5 times the mass of the sun, have enough of mass and mass that they can burn even heavier elements compared to helium, like carbon, oxygen, silicon. As I had told previously, these elements also are heavier than helium, and they also have a relatively shorter time frame compared to helium burning stages. It is based on the star's mass how long will these elements burn in the core. Certain stars are characterized by extreme high mass, like 100 solar mass. So they will burn the carbon fuel very slow, very quickly compared to other low mass stars. But the stars like below 5 solar masses have they only burn helium. Once the helium is exhausted in their core, they become a planetary nebula. They directly become a planetary nebula, and this planetary nebula is mainly composed. Um, this planetary nebula leaves behind a white dwarf star, mainly composed of carbon and oxygen. So about the high mass stars, they burn carbon. After carbon, there is oxygen. After oxygen, silicon. After silicon, they burn iron. When the iron when they start burning iron after exhausting the silicon fuel, the core collapses under their own weight, triggering a supernova explosion. For these low mass stars, I had told that when they lose their fuel, these low mass stars, they also puff into red giant stars. When they lose off all their fuel, their core collapses under their own gravity, and it becomes a planetary nebula since they are not massive enough to undergo a supernova explosion. So I would explain the process of supernova explosions in the next video. And those high mass stars, about greater than 5 solar masses, are only capable of going supernova. So that's it for today's video. I hope you have understood what I am saying, and I hope it is a very informative video. So please, those if you have liked it, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this video. Thank you. Next video I would upload about supernova explosions. What is the phenomenon of supernova explosions and failed supernova? Thank you.